On a rainy evening, Snoop Dogg walked into a grand hotel, only to be turned away with cold disdain. This shocking act of racism left many stunned, but what unfolded next was nothing short of extraordinary. How did one moment of humiliation ignite a life-changing twist no one saw coming? This story will challenge your beliefs about justice and inspire you with its powerful message of redemption. Stay tuned to witness the jaw-dropping ending, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more unforgettable stories. Rain poured relentlessly, each drop pounding against the glossy black SUV as Snoop pulled into the driveway of the Regal Horizon Hotel in Santa Monica, California. The golden glow of the grand chandeliers spilled onto the wet pavement, reflecting the opulence of the setting. For most, this hotel was a sanctuary, a haven of comfort for weary travelers. But tonight, Snoop wouldn't find the welcome he expected. Stepping out of the car, he adjusted the collar of his signature green and gold jacket. At 6 feet 4 inches, with an air of authority Snoop was impossible to overlook. The polished sound of his shoes echoed faintly against the marble floor as he entered the lobby. The subtle aroma of fresh roses mingled with the faint scent of espresso wafting from a nearby cafe. Snoop approached the reception desk, his familiar calm smile in place. "Good evening," he said, his voice deep and steady. "I'd like to book a room for the night. My flight was delayed, and I need a place to rest before my next connection." The receptionist, a young man with neatly styled blonde hair and a name tag that read Tyler, barely glanced up. His fingers tapped languidly on the keyboard. "Sorry, sir," Tyler replied, his tone devoid of actual apology. "We're fully booked." Snoop's eyes swept the lobby. It wasn't crowded. The faint chime of an elevator signaled another guest's arrival. Leaning slightly forward, his smile unwavering, he pressed on. "Fully booked? Really? Not a single room available?" Finally, Tyler looked up, a thin smile tugging at his lips. "That's correct, sir. No rooms available." Before Snoop could respond, the revolving door of the hotel spun open. A middle-aged couple entered, their suitcases trailing behind. Tyler's demeanor shifted instantly. His smile brightened, his voice dripping with politeness. "Welcome to the Regal Horizon. Do you have a reservation?" The man shook his head, and Tyler nodded enthusiastically. "No problem. Let me check if we have availability." Snoop stood motionless, his expression calm, though a flicker of disappointment crossed his eyes. He watched as Tyler typed into the computer once more, then promptly handed over a keycard to the couple. "Enjoy your stay," Tyler beamed as they walked away. Clearing his throat, Snoop regained Tyler's attention. "I thought you said there were no rooms available?" For a brief moment, Tyler hesitated, his polished smile faltering. "Oh, I meant we don't have any rooms. That would suit your needs." Snoop felt the weight of the moment. Not because of the lack of rooms, not because of his late arrival, but because of something far uglier. The realization hit him with a sharp pang, but he didn't let it show. Standing taller, his face became unreadable. "Thank you for your time," he said, his voice as composed as it had been when he arrived. Without another word, he turned and stepped back into the rain. But this wasn't the end of the night. It was only the beginning. Under the hotel's awning, Snoop listened to the rain drum against the canopy above, filling the silence. Pulling out his phone, he scrolled through nearby hotel options, but his gaze lingered on the revolving doors behind him. The scene he had just witnessed replayed in his mind like a faint, stubborn scent that wouldn't fade. He leaned against one of the marble columns, just far enough to remain out of sight but close enough to observe. His suspicions were soon confirmed. A young man, perhaps in his early 20s, strolled into the lobby. He wore cargo pants and a hoodie, with a backpack slung lazily over one shoulder. Snoop watched silently. The man approached the reception desk, making the same request Snoop had just made minutes earlier, a room for the night. Snoop couldn't hear the conversation, but he didn't need to. The exaggerated nods and wide smiles from Tyler told him everything. In moments, the man was handed a keycard. No hesitation, no excuses, just a smooth transaction and a polite farewell. Snoop's lips pressed into a thin line. This wasn't an oversight or a mistake. It was deliberate. He lingered for a moment, weighing his next move. His first instinct was to confront the receptionist and expose the hypocrisy right there in the lobby. But years in the music and business industries had taught him the value of restraint. There were moments for words, and there were moments for action. Tonight was a time for action. Snoop returned to his car, the cold leather seat. Pressing against his back as he drove away, the bright golden lights of the Regal Horizon Hotel fading in his rearview mirror. An idea began to take shape. This wasn't just about him. It was about everyone who had ever faced such silent rejection but lacked the means or voice to fight back. Snoop wasn't going to let this slide. Not tonight, not ever. The rhythmic sound of the windshield wipers filled the silence as Snoop drove through the rain-slicked streets of Long Beach. The hotel's rejection replayed in his mind, not as a wound, but as fuel. He wasn't furious. Anger wasted energy. Instead, he felt something sharper, more focused, determination. He pulled into the parking lot of a small diner, its neon red sign glowing brightly with the words Sam's All-Night Diner. Inside, the scent of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling bacon greeted him. Snoop took a seat by the window and pulled out his laptop. A server brought over a steaming cup of coffee, setting it down without a word. He nodded in thanks and began typing swiftly. Snoop had been aware of the Regal Horizon Hotel for a few months. The property was part of a struggling hotel chain, and rumors of its potential sale had reached his investment team during a meeting. At the time, he hadn't paid much attention. It was just a small fish compared to the global projects he usually pursued. But tonight, everything had changed. Within minutes, he had called his lawyer, Sophia Carter, a sharp negotiator known for her speed in closing deals. Sophia, I need the paperwork for the Regal Horizon Hotel finalized before sunrise, he said, his voice deep and resolute. Before sunrise? Snoop, even for you, this is ambitious, Sophia replied, surprised. Consider it done, Sophia, he answered, leaving no room for debate. Send the documents to my phone as soon as they're ready. I'll sign electronically. Snoop hung up, his gaze shifting to the window, watching the raindrops streak down the glass. For the next few hours, his team worked tirelessly to close the deal. By the time the first light of dawn painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, the contract was signed. The Regal Horizon Hotel now belonged to Snoop. He closed the laptop and took a deep breath. The coffee in his cup had gone cold, but he didn't care. The real work was just beginning. Morning sunlight gleamed off the glass facade of the Regal Horizon Hotel as Snoop stepped out of his car. A quiet confidence radiated from him. Dressed in a tailored jacket, he adjusted his sunglasses and looked up at the building, a symbol of luxury that concealed flaws within. Hotel staff bustled about, preparing for another day of catering to affluent guests. Tyler, the receptionist, was stationed behind the desk, his professional demeanor seemingly more polished than ever. At first, he didn't notice Snoop. Snoop took his time, observing the space with a renewed perspective. He noticed subtle glances exchanged between staff members as they passed him, their expressions betraying a mix of curiosity and unease. Perhaps it was his presence, a composed authority that hinted at something significant. As Snoop approached the reception desk, Tyler's professional smile snapped into place. Good morning, sir. How may I assist you today? Snoop didn't respond immediately. Instead, he placed a sleek black briefcase on the desk. Its sharp corners were pristine, unblemished. Slowly, he opened it, revealing a stack of stamped and signed legal documents. Tyler's smile faltered, a flicker of confusion crossing his face. I'm here to introduce myself, Snoop began, his voice calm, but resolute. I'm Snoop Dogg, and as of this morning, I am the new owner of the Regal Horizon Hotel. The room seemed to freeze. Staff members stopped what they were doing, turning their attention to the lobby. Tyler's face turned pale, the confidence he usually exuded evaporating completely. I don't understand, he stammered, his usual smoothness utterly gone. I'll keep it brief, Snoop continued, his eyes locking onto Tyler's. "This hotel is now under my ownership. And last night, I had the privilege of experiencing how some of the staff here treat potential customers. Let's just say, I wasn't impressed." Tyler's mouth opened, but no words came out. Snoop raised a hand, cutting off any attempts at justification. "No need for excuses. Actions speak louder than words, and yours have spoken clearly." He turned, his gaze shifting to the gathered staff in the lobby. Their faces reflected a mix of anxiety and curiosity. Among them were Maria, a housekeeper who had often felt the sting of subtle discrimination, and Ethan, the night shift clerk who had overheard Tyler's snide remarks about certain guests. They watched with a blend of hope and apprehension. "I believe in running a business with fairness, respect, and inclusivity," Snoop declared, his voice steady and commanding. "Unfortunately, this hotel has not been meeting that standard. But that changes today." The room remained silent, the tension palpable. Snoop let it linger for just a moment before continuing. "Everyone here will have the opportunity to grow with this new chapter, except for those who refuse to treat guests with respect. I will not tolerate any form of discrimination, under any circumstances." Tyler's face flushed red. He mumbled something, but Snoop didn't give him the chance to say more. "Your actions last night do not align with the future of this hotel. You are terminated, effective immediately." Tyler's jaw dropped, but the words rang out, firm and final. The other staff exchanged glances, some nodding subtly, others sharing meaningful looks. Snoop could feel the shift, a wave of understanding rippling through the room. "Let me make this clear," he continued, stepping slowly across the lobby. His voice was steady but not harsh. "This isn't just about last night. This is about the culture of this hotel, the message it sends, and the experience it delivers to everyone who walks through these doors." The employees listened intently, their eyes fixed on him. "What happened last night wasn't just a lack of respect toward me. It was a reflection of a mindset that has no place here." He paused, his gaze sweeping the room. "From this moment forward, this hotel will represent respect and inclusivity. That means change, starting with new policies and comprehensive training programs." Snoop turned to Maria, a longtime housekeeper who had dedicated over a decade to the hotel. "What's your name?" "Maria," she replied, her voice trembling but tinged with hope. "Good, Maria," he said, offering a reassuring smile. "You and the entire team will participate in extensive training to ensure every guest feels valued, no matter who they are or where they come from." Maria nodded, the initial anxiety in her expression giving way to understanding. Snoop noticed others beginning to relax as well, their shoulders loosening and their gazes softening. "But let me also be clear," Snoop continued. "I'm not here to punish anyone unfairly. Everyone makes mistakes, and growth is always possible if you're willing to change. If you embrace these changes, there's a place for you here. But if you can't, it's best we part ways." He allowed the silence to linger for a moment, letting his words sink in. This hotel has the potential to become something far greater, not just a place to sleep or hold conferences. It can be a symbol, a true emblem of hospitality. And with the right team, I believe we can achieve that. Snoop stepped back, his gaze sweeping across the room. The atmosphere had transformed entirely since he walked in, from tension and unease to cautious optimism. "I've arranged everything," he added. "A new manager will arrive next week, and renovation plans will be implemented immediately. This is a fresh start for all of us." He smiled faintly. "Let's make this a place we can all be proud of." The staff looked at each other, some whispering quietly. Snoop could tell his message had resonated. The foundation for change was firmly set. The weeks that followed were a period of transformation for the Regal Horizon Hotel. Construction crews worked swiftly, upgrading everything from outdated interiors to the building's infrastructure. Once cold, rigid walls were repainted in warm, inviting tones. The lobby was transformed into a welcoming space, designed to make every person who entered feel like they belonged. Snoop wasn't the type of leader to issue orders from afar. He was present, engaging with both employees and guests. His energy was contagious, inspiring the team to rally around the new vision. Training sessions became the backbone of the transformation. Experts were brought in to conduct workshops on diversity, equity, and inclusion. These weren't just lectures but meaningful conversations. Employees shared their own experiences, confronted biases, and learned how to create a truly welcoming environment. Maria, with her natural empathy and problem-solving skills, quickly emerged as a standout. She was promoted to assistant manager. "I never thought I'd have this opportunity," she confided to Snoop during an inspection. He simply smiled and said, "You deserve it." Good news travels fast. Former guests, intrigued by the rumors, began returning to witness the transformation. New customers arrived, drawn by the story of the hotel's remarkable reinvention. Reviews flooded in, brimming with praise, not just for the luxury but for the genuine atmosphere of kindness and respect that permeated every interaction. The once tarnished reputation of the Regal Horizon Hotel had been replaced by a symbol of inclusivity and excellence. Snoop made sure that the stories of his team, like Maria, were celebrated, as they were the heart and soul of this change. It was a crisp morning when Snoop stood in the newly renovated lobby of the Regal Horizon Hotel, a steaming cup of coffee in his hand. Morning sunlight poured through the large windows, illuminating the polished marble floors and fresh flower arrangements adorning every corner. Guests bustled in and out, greeted warmly by the staff. Each interaction was a testament to the hotel's monumental transformation. Maria approached with a clipboard in hand. "Mr. Snoop, the final guest survey results are in." Over 90% of them said hospitality was the highlight of their stay. Snoop smiled and placed his coffee down. "That's what I wanted to hear, Maria. It's not just about the building. It's about the people inside it." Maria nodded and turned to continue her work. Snoop took a moment to reflect. This journey had been more than a business endeavor. It was a reminder of the power of standing up for what was right. He thought back to the night he was turned away. That moment had ignited a transformation, not just for the hotel but for everyone involved, including himself. Meanwhile, Tyler, the former receptionist, had learned his own lesson. News of his dismissal spread quickly, closing many doors within the industry. Eventually, he found a more humble job, one where he was forced to confront his own biases daily. For the first time, Tyler began to understand the true weight of his actions. Back at the Regal Horizon, Snoop noticed a family arriving, a father, mother, and two young children. The father, bearing a faint resemblance to Snoop, paused to shake his hand. "I read about what you've done here," the man said. "It's inspiring." "Thank you." Snoop nodded gently, a warm smile on his face. "This place is for everyone now," he replied. "It always should have been." As the family moved on, Snoop turned toward the main entrance, feeling a sense of calm. He had built many things in his life: records, a legacy, a brand, but this was different. This was personal. Looking out at the bustling lobby, he made a silent promise to himself. From now on, every guest who leaves this place will walk away with a smile, knowing they were treated with the respect they deserve. In the end, the Regal Horizon Hotel was no longer just a building. It had become a symbol, a reminder that change starts with a courageous act and the belief that everyone deserves respect. Back at the Regal Horizon, Snoop noticed a family arriving, a father, mother, and two young children. The father, bearing a faint resemblance to Snoop, paused to shake his hand. "I read about what you've done here," the man said. "It's inspiring." "Thank you." Snoop nodded gently, a warm smile on his face. "This place is for everyone now," he replied. "It always should have been." As the family moved on, Snoop turned toward the main entrance, feeling a sense of calm. He had built many things in his life: records, a legacy, a brand, but this was different. This was personal. Looking out at the bustling lobby, he made a silent promise to himself. From now on, every guest who leaves this place will walk away with a smile, knowing they were treated with the respect they deserve. In the end, the Regal Horizon Hotel was no longer just a building. It had become a symbol, a reminder that change starts with a courageous act and the belief that everyone deserves respect.